To his contemporaries, Abbot Kinney seemed a peculiar sort of gentleman, a wealthy man of Eastern breeding, a dabbler in the arts, science, and politics, given to dreams of staggering proportion. When he proposed creating a city of Renaissance grandeur upon a desolate stretch of sand and swamp, he became the object of public ridicule. His plan became known as Kinney's Folly. A deluge of new subdivisions and town sites was erupting from the Southern California terrain in 1905, but they all paled when compared to Abbot Kinney's venture beside the Pacific. His was to be a replica of Italy's fabled city over the sea. It was to be an American Venice. The foundation of Kinney's transplanted Europe was a system of canals, miles of eucalyptus-treed and flower-lined saltwater channels. Engineers had suggested the waterways as the most efficient method to reclaim the salt marsh, and Kinney spun his dream around their verdict. Immigrant Italians were imported from New York to scull ornate gondolas down Corral, Cabrillo, and Lyon canals. Bungalows and cottages joined canvas tent homes along the banks of Aldebaran, Grand, and Altair canals. The sculpted relief of serpents and jungle cats overlooked the water from the span of concrete bridges. To the visitor and resident alike, the Venice fantasy became real. Despite a nationwide economic depression, the sale of Venetian real estate two-block avenue named Windward connected the Venice of America canals with the sand of the Pacific. Column-lined arcades shrouded the lobby entrances of elegant hotels featuring hot salt water in every bathroom as a therapeutic bonus. Abbot Kinney's mandate called for architecture in the Italian tradition, but designers added embellishments of Rococo, Egyptian, Baroque, and pure California influence. It was a place of wonder nonetheless. Weekends and holidays saw masses of tourists wandering the streets, some coming by horseless carriage, most arriving in droves aboard the electric cars from Los Angeles. Camel rides, squabs stuffed with wild rice by the master hand of Fritz, the St. Mark's Hotel chef, a schooner of Meyer's beer and Cesar Minotti's famed buffet. There was something for every taste. Kinney saw his city as more than a facade of pseudo-Italian architecture. He pictured a place of culture, possibly, hopefully, the birthplace of an American Renaissance. In a huge auditorium over the sea, he staged a Chautauqua-type presentation called the Venice Assembly. Sarah Bernhardt performed to full houses during her Farewell American tour. Poets, lecturers, and musical artists paraded across the auditorium stage. The Ship Hotel was designed as a replica of Juan Cabrillo's 16th century galleon. Inside its hull, permanently moored atop rows of pilings, waiters in Spanish naval costumes served the finest in food and spirits. The gentry of Los Angeles poured aboard for dancing, romantic private dining, music, sightseeing, and a possible game of chance. Pyrotechnic displays and 60,000 carbon filament lamps kept the city alive through the night. Kinney's quest for culture had a short lifespan. The crowd streamed into Venice of America, but bypassed the auditorium lectures. They preferred a ride on the miniature railroad running along the canals to showings of lantern-slide views of faraway places. The bands and boat rides proved more popular than Shakespearean oration. Opera took second billing to the Midway Plaisance, a collection of trail and sideshows rooted on the edge of the Venice Lagoon. There, Barker's spiels lured the willing tourist, extolling the virtues of Chiquita, the world's smallest woman, warning of the dangerous Igorots, head-hunting cannibals from northern Luzon, and advertising the mysteries of the Egyptian mummies within the streets of Cairo exhibit. The crowds took the bait and came back for more. A heated plunge provided salt water for the bather, but the real allure was a striking natural strip of beach bordering on the Pacific. Miles of shimmering sand beckoned an early publicity release. Another proudly pointed to a record 3 million visitors without a single instance of drowning. It was a safe and sought-after playground for all ages. Parade of bathing beauties was started in 1912 as a publicity stunt for the Los Angeles Examiner and became an American institution. Newsreel cameras and movie scouts panned the lineup of fluttering, hopeful eyes and nervous knees, prominently featured in every Venetian review and festival. Many of Hollywood's future stars and starlets made their first public appearance before the judges of a Venice carnival. Even if Abbott Kinney's dream didn't work out quite as he had planned, it was still his town, his Venice. And what was good for Kinney's interest was good for the growing city, no matter what competitors, city government, or anyone else might think. It was a company town, and the company was Abbott Kinney's. The business was amusement. continued to flow into Venice, looking for diversion from their daily routines and the problems of the world. Venice offered it in plenty. If canal boat rides and surf bathing were too tame for the daring, it was easy enough to find one of the 3 roller coasters that clattered above the lagoon and amusement pier. Screams of exhilaration and joyful terror mixed with the noise of calliopes. Noah's Ark, the dragon slide over the falls, the Ferris wheel, the race through the clouds, the whip, professional sports, baseball, boxing, auto racing, and water polo were all available for the fan. Each attraction promised more excitement, more adventure, even more thrills. Above, stunt pilots and aerobats like Mort Bach, Al Wilson, Frank Clark, and Wally Tim braved gravity and sanity to please the beach crowds. The Venice Airfield, one of the first in Southern California, became home for the barnstormers and the embryo of an industry. Another new industry, motion pictures, came to work and stayed to play. On November 4th, 1920, Abbott Kinney died at the age of 70. The task of providing for Venice interest passed to his son, Thornton Kinney. It was to be a difficult job. Prohibition and competing resorts had drastically cut the city's revenues. 1 month after his father's death, the Venice amusement pier caught fire and was almost completely destroyed. A fire department captain was killed battling the blaze. Damages exceeded $1 million. For Thornton Kinney in Venice, nothing seemed amusing anymore. But Venice proved resilient. The pier was quickly rebuilt. A newly designed ship cafe was constructed. The canals remained a graceful attraction. The crowd still came for the amusements, for laughs, for bathing. But things were changing. While the amusement business faced decline, the permanent population of Venice continued to grow. A stable community had developed. Substantial buildings lined the oceanfront and the old canals. Schools and civic structures were erected. The tourist and vacationer had been replaced by the family. It had become a place to work, to raise a family, for children to play and grow up. It seemed as if Venice itself was growing up. Problems remained and seemed insurmountable. In 1925, Venice gave up its independence and became part of the city of Los Angeles. 4 years later, the majority of Abbott Kinney's canals were paved over to make way for the automobile and progress. Oil was discovered that same year, and wildcat derricks replaced the roller coasters. Abbott Kinney's eccentric, rollicking edition of Venice of America was no more.